check it. Hey, check it. Put the place up. Put the place up, yeah we know what we made of. Can't get enough of you, boo, I'm a chaser. Face up, now I feel a little major. Blink of an eye, ego I'ma take her. Shaker, yeah she was a ball shaker. She shake me out that door to no place. Damn, why you doing all that? Thought you was my wife, but you stabbed me in the back. Something like a rose when we came out there, we settled facts like Da Vinci. I'm breaking codes, so breaking backs. Come on, get your ass up in the slipping. Get another smile like it was the last Christmas. Hey. Put the place up. Put the place up, yeah we know what we made of. Can't get enough of you, boo, I'm a chaser. Face up, now I feel a little major. Blink of an eye, ego I'ma take her. Shaker, yeah she was a ball shaker. She shake me out that door to no place. Damn, why you doing all that? Thought you was my wife, but you stabbed me in the back. Sounding like a rose when we came out there. We settled facts like Da Vinci. I'm breaking codes, so breaking backs. Come on, get your ass up in the slipping. With another smile like it was the last Christmas. Hey.
eventually it'll go away. 'Cause in the silence, the dark alliance start to show what's deep inside me after all. And still in silence, I try to break these walls to show there's a light behind them
Welcome back to the SMITE Minor League. My name's Hinduman, joined by Aggro today to break down some Minor League action. But before we even start, there's gem sales going on. Don't forget about these. Go and get them now while they're on sale. You all ask for it all the time. Well, this is the moment.
This is your time. Hey, did you hear I had a joke about this?
No.
Oh, I did. It's kind of like how...
We don't need to hear it.
All right, just buy gems, I guess.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, 35% off gem packs for a limited time only. Make sure you get them in, especially around Independence Day.
That's right. There's a lot of good freedom-oriented skins out there, including the new Nike one. I was playing with it yesterday, and it's really dope.
So we'll look at the schedule then to break down how things go every single week in the minor league. A couple of games played offline, and then we broadcast ones Tuesday through Friday. And so today, it's all about Armada Esports versus Sanguine. You may recognize these names as Voltic and Pablo.
That's right. The new orgs to the scene. Excited about that, and excited about Armada because this is a team that still has a lot of potential in North America. I believe they're still in second place, right behind Very Nice to Me. Look, the gap there is still pretty large, don't get me wrong, but Armada at 6-1 is no bad record by any stretch. And they have a couple games in hand that they could potentially catch up to Very Nice to Me, so they have to take care of business here against Sanguine.
In fairness, right, I think you were the one that originally coined it. Was Very Nice to Me is like the SPL waiting room. That team is pretty much what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, everyone on Very Nice to Me is very close, if not already SPL level. Armada is still trying to work their way there, and that takes time. The teamwork is where they think that they can really find their edge over a team like Very Nice to Me, and so the games like this are great opportunities to work on that and get your picks and bans right, get your strategies right, and then be able to take on the best team in the region.
Well, let's find out if Cope and the boys can get things going for Armada here today. Let's get into picks and bans as they go up against Sanguine and find out if Mineral, Diesel, and Sybil on Sanguine can make some things happen.
Remember, Mineral what used to be on this Team Voltic roster, aka Armada, as a support player, so a little bit of a grudge match, if you will, between these two teams.
Chonga first ban, what a time to be alive. Followed by Chernobog straight after that. So one of the top gods, Chernobog, taking some nerfs in the future patch. If you just saw the patch notes today.
Oh, a little spoiler there.
Yeah, that's what we're all about. How's that spoiler?
I mean, if they
it's already out. It's not
I know, but maybe they, maybe the viewer didn't get a chance to watch patch notes, and then we're like, oh, I'll save it for later. I want to watch it in its entirety. You know, I really enjoy watching aggro on the couch and with everyone there. And you wanted to like DVR it and wait it for later, like you could do that, but now you've ruined one of the balance sections.
Yeah, I did. I'll ruin another one. Baron Samedi gets buffed. Athena and Guan Yu also banned away. Odin on the table with all these bans. I don't think he's going to get picked, but Juba Lonke for the first pick. Generally, we see the Artemis there from a lot of the SPL teams, but the minor league go with the Juba.
Yeah, the meta in the minor league is clearly different than that of the pro league, and Gibalanke is still very heavily prioritized at this level of play. I think that Artemis is slightly better right now, so I'm surprised we see the Gibalanke, but Sanguine get to get 2 solid picks and then can go for Artemis themselves for the bans.
I mentioned the Odin just because a lot of what we saw banned out, the Guan Yu, the Chang'e, and Athena all struggle against an Odin anyway, so I thought maybe we wouldn't see him. But with Sanguine going for the Raw, they'll take Odin to make sure the chicken doesn't have to deal with the ring himself.
Another pick that the minor league seems to value a little bit more highly than the pro league. Odin has been played a lot in the jungle in the minor league as of late. I believe Cope had a pretty good performance on it just last week, or maybe it was earlier this week. So this is a selection that is good against the Raw. You pick some follow-up now with the Ho Yi. Not quite the Artemis that we were expecting, but this is much better follow-up for that Odin cage itself, so I think this pick fits.
A little bit surprised by the Kumbhakana pick there into an Odin as well. It's not one of the greatest gods at dealing with Odin, although if you are very, very good and you get very, very lucky, you're on the bird bomb.
Yep.
Which is not an easy ability, but it's doable.
Nope, it is doable. I love this Will expand, though, by Sanguine. Cope has played a lot of different things since he's come to the minor league, a lot of Susano and things like that. This man still plays a Willix lights out. This is still his premier god in a lot of different ways, and with the draft that Sanguine has so far, a Willix is exactly what Armada could have used. This is a really good ban by Sanguine.
Also, like the Raven ban too, someone that I think has been flying under the radar consistently for a while now.
Agreed.
Still strong in the jungle from the warrior point of view, as Armada will take away supports in Geb and Terra. A couple still left available though, although Odin could fit that role.
Could, but Bacchus is more likely to do that. Bacchus is a character that we're starting to see a little bit of a smattering of.
Resurgence.
In play, and I'm not quite seeing it. I mean, he brings some good things, but I still think there are a couple better Guardians still on the table.
What's his issue?
He just inconsistent peel, inconsistent damage. And the problem is that they're attached to the same ability, right?
Sure.
In belly flop, it's easy to interrupt, especially against Kumbhakana. You really think you're going to get that entire belt chop in the middle of a team fight and be able to actually stun someone? It seems kind of unlikely to me.
That's fair. But it's all dive if you look at what Sanguine put on the front line then with Bacchus, Hades, and Odin as the Hades gets locked in. They've got 3 characters that are going to dive in and that can chain abilities well if they can get them into a nasty little loop of combinations.
Yeah, Hades, another god that can follow up off of Odin Cage pretty well, but a little bit different than a Huyi Sunbreaker, a Zeus Lightning Storm, where they can kind of fire and forget and not put themselves in a bad position. Hades has to get into the thick of it, but if you're going to be stuck in an Odin Cage with, say, a Xbalanque, it's good to have his lifesteal immune by that Odin Cage and his attack speed reduced, and Hades gets a stupid amount of physical protection while using that ultimate, so that could work out pretty nicely here for Sanguine.
Who do you think's going to win?
Still Armada. I've still got Armada.
Yellow Armada. Well, let's find out if Armada can do it. I've got 2 of my favorite casters standing by. It's John Finch and the Bear Killer himself, Hector.
Can't believe they're making me share a room with this bear murderer, but it is going to be Finch and Tom here. Thank you, Graham and Agra, for breaking it down on the desk. We move into Armada, going up against Sanguine.
Hello.
He's right to be mournful. There's some bear blood on his hands. Let's go ahead and move into game. A very interesting draft, though, by Sanguine. Got the Hades, got the Bacchus, a lot of interesting picks we don't get to see a whole lot of there, Tom, and I'm interested to see where they'll go. It is going to be the Bacchus support. Looks like it's going to be Hades jungle. I actually feel as though, you know, that could work. Hades has really strong clear.
Sure.
Well, what are the check boxes you want right from your jungler, right?
So, yeah. So, I mean, realistically, this Hades jungle...
Whoa. Whoa. I like the sportsmanship here, but I'm not a jump party man myself.
No, see, I'm the guy that just ruins the jump
Yeah.
party the whole time, but it's the Flying V!
Oh, whoa.
It's the Flying V.
Wow.
We're all about...
I like the
what's
coordination here. Okay.
What's happening here?
What would be really top levels if they coordinated their colors and
Yeah.
alternated. So,
Yeah.
but instead they didn't. So
You know what?
It was still impressive.
That was reasonably cute.
yeah, I don't hate that at all.
I'm very close to hating it. But that's because I'm a curmudgeon and I don't like any fun. I'm the guy that, like, I literally have 1 arena game played, you know? I don't play horse, I play basketball.
Right.
Right? Like, I play Conquest and, you know, Final Destination, Fox only, no items. Like, that's me. So that's not my style, that's not my flavor, but I can respect it.
Yeah, if I were in this game and, you know, these players all know each other relatively well, that's fine. But if I'm in, like, you know, a game where I've, you know, been match made and I don't know these folks, that makes me nervous. Someone's about to, you know, blow us all up while we're unprepared, dance around the jump circle. I don't like it. That's not me.
I have never partaken in a jump party.
Nah, man.
I've seen it happen, and in the, like, 3 arena assault games I've played, I've disrupted those. Diesel getting disrupted with the beads.
Yeah, those were forced out very early. That's what Kumakarna can do very well on that level 1 with the Groggy Strike. That root can be so strong, hard to avoid. Sabbath doing a good job forcing the beads out from Diesel. They're going to come right over and look for the invade on the purple buff now, and they should be able to grab it because Sybil and Diesel are staying in lane.
So coming back to this Hades jungle. Realistically, one of the things I want out of my jungler, I want burst damage, I want mobility, I want crowd control, which is set up for the laners, right? And of course, I want damage. Hades has a dash that will kind of surprise people. Mineral getting surprised.
That's first blood. Cope able to find that one. A great combination between the Discordia and the Circuit to bring down Mineral on the Ra. One of the things that can be a problem for Ra, doesn't have great mobility. Cope kind of just walks up and takes it.
Cope's still here, getting the left-hand harpies, but... So Face has that ability, which will go actually underneath walls, so you can kind of surprise gank. That's that gank ability, right? He's got plenty of damage if he builds into it. Setup is interesting with the silence/fear into the ultimate as well. And as Zagro mentioned, there is a ton of physical protections, which is kind of nice, I suppose, against the Xbalanque. I don't love this. I don't love the Hades jungle, but I don't think it has zero merit. There are definitely worse jungles than you can go. And at the end of the day, we've seen some teams take this approach, Finch, where it's less about is Hades a jungler or more just the 5th player that we'll see later on when it's team fight time.
That's right. Sometimes you see it in the solo laner, right, where we don't have solo laners rotating over to be bullies early on in the game. They just want that god later on in their team fight. So obviously Hades is very strong in a team fight if you can get him, especially when beads have already been forced or maybe jumps have already been used. Because that's another problem with this. Armada have pretty easy ways to get out of the Pillar of Agony for the most part. They can just kind of leave. So once those are expended, then FaZe can come in and really kind of have a field day with this Hades.
Which, another thing is that, you know, no character exists in a vacuum.
Sure.
People will jump away from Hades and then get locked in an Odin cage.
No, I mean, that's exactly the idea. Is Cope and Bruh move in to try and strip away this blue buff. Another invade happening on the other side of the map as Sabbath going aggressive. FaZe does get hit by the Cobra's Kiss, but coming right over the wall is Fates to dunk in. Cope, though, ambushes away. Armada Esports should be fine with their retreat.
One of the more classic combinations, I think, is Hunbats and Ares, and we've seen that sort of mixed around with Hades as well. Nice ricochet there. We've seen Hunbats and Ares, or Hunbats and Hades as well, right? One character strips the beads, the other gets the giant teamfight ultimate. Whoever it is, doesn't matter. I think it's the same idea with the jumps and Odin cage here with Hades and Odin.
Sabbath committed the blink, it looks like, just now, trying to go in and help secure the red buff steal on the side of Armada Esports. They were in the jungle of Sanguine. Did manage to make it from the retreat path, but he's going to come meet up with Sybil and Diesel as the ultimate comes out from Brawl on the solo hand side. Sops in some trouble, is forced to fall back. Looks like, though, he was able to hold on to the Aegis.
Not a win for Bruh. He just traded an ultimate for an ability on a 10-second cooldown. Not a win. It's not a great look for the Cerberus. We'll see what happens a little bit later when he gets that ultimate back or in the interim. Because right now, yeah, this is where I want to see FaZe go gank as a Hades, the solo lane Cerberus.
Yeah, right? That's the sentence we're saying. Hades going to gank the solo lane Cerberus.
Well, Bruh, after that jump comes down, I mean, you're going to be able to silence the breath and then lock him up in the Pillar of Agony.
Oh, no, I think you're right. So, absolutely. I'm
It's
just saying that
just
this is
silly,
where we
yeah.
are right now. You're like, that faces on this jungle Hades. And, I mean, look at the start he's going. Got the pin boots rocking as well, so he's going to be swinging once he's able to come in. Starting to build some lifesteal, too. Hades really synergizes well with that. So, FaZe, I mean, clearly comfortable here and going to be able to get the most out of it, but we'll see how well it can match up with Cope on this Serket, who's one of the best junglers.
Yeah, and here, exactly, my deal is it's much less Hades jungle, the thesis paper, yes or no. I meet somewhere in the middle, and I lean towards yes for the right scenario. Fates, just saying a whole lot of no here, bruh. Gonna be able to control him. The zigzag, but the jump is good.
Man, if that stun had landed, that might have been a whole different situation. Face is here now to help defend the blue buff, and Cope has noped right out of here. Bruh still wants to try and defend the blue buff. Fate's sticking around. Blue buff does end up getting dropped. Fate's able to pick that up. Bruh could not take it away.
It's another positive of the Hades jungle. The Devour Souls is such good burst damage, and it's great for clearing jungle camps because the minions explode and cause extra damage. That's another positive, and that's kind of where I was going, Finch, is that, you know, by itself, Hades jungle, sure, maybe. I actually don't hate this. Season 5 is a lot more viable than you think. I'm speaking to you specifically, you who's listening to this. The game is more open than you think. Trust me. And I like to see this innovation, but at the same time, I want you to think as you innovate, and you look at this Armada composition, and this is not a Hades jungle composition. Like you said, you brought it up. Everybody can just get out of it by jumping. It's not that big of a deal here. Bruh, Cope, Sheikah, even Sabbath can burn the ultimate. Sops, all 5 of these characters get out of Pillar of Agony without using their relic. This is a much better look if people have to burn their relic. Then you lock it up somewhere else. It's an interesting thought process that might not fit this composition. At the same time, we'll see how it goes.
That's right. It has a chance to succeed. I always, because people ask me, you know, can this work? Is this bad? And I know, and nothing. It's very rare for something to just be bad.
Yes.
As Sabbath blinks in with the 3-man mez.
Well, that was
Sheikah a
bad.
little bit late with the ultimate. That's not going to connect. But
Bruh.
Bruh comes in with the Stygian Torment Mineral. Going to fall very early on. Epic uppercut. Pillar of Agony's here now that all the cooldowns are expended. But he's got to retreat. It was only to keep Sybil alive.
Yeah, just use it as a deterrent. Nice job there from FaZe, understanding what he's got. And Sheikah going to be replaced. FaZe gets the last hit, but the damage done by Fates. Nice job from the solo lane Odin making the rotation there.
A little bit later than Bruh, but that time it works out well for him. Fate's able to come in and punish Sheikah, who stuck around a little bit too long. Coming in to steal these back XP camps, but that's his jump. Bruh now and Cope have a pretty good opportunity to go in, but they don't have any ultimates. This tanky Odin might be able to just walk away with the slow.
Sabbath has shown up. He's going to be able to mez, and the ring is good. Bruh jumps on out of it. Fate's still trying to deal. Walks back into the cage, mezzed, and jumps away.
They're kind of trusting him to get out of this one, though, as Cope jumps in with the Deathbane. That's going to put a stop to it. No one rotated over. That was a prolonged 3v1 that Fates was trying to stare down, but just a little bit too far out of position. Tried to steal those XP camps, and the rotation was there from Armada.
I mean, you said it. You said it yourself. He jumped up and down. I don't. That was. I am with you. Very rarely are things in Smite just the wrong decision or bad.
Sure.
Yeah, that was just the wrong decision and bad.
And he ends up getting punished for it. And I like that Sanguine don't commit anything else. The apple not going to land onto Mineral.
Ooh,
It bounced, though, and got close.
One more, like, if that apple is active for another second, that hits Mineral. But they've got Cope in the back line.
He is able to go on with the last breath. Mineral at least gets his damage off, but just not in time and doesn't hit anybody. Cope will find Mineral there in the jungle with Sheikah, keeping Mineral around there. Maybe didn't hit the ultimate, but kept him in the jungle for Cope to get there.
Yeah, just kind of kept things local. 4 kills for Armada. That's kind of what you're looking for. Yeah, sure.
But to sort of go back to whether or not anything's good or bad, I think it comes down to opportunity cost is the real question.
Sure.
What are you giving up to make this work? And you're most likely giving up something with a lower margin for error where you can afford to make a few more mistakes. Do we go at this? So anything can work if you're executing it perfectly, but there are some things that can work even if you're not being perfect. So that's kind of what you're giving up, I think.
That is absolutely a part of the conversation, and it's definitely more of you ever take chemistry?
Yeah.
You know how you balance the equation?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's really what it is for me, is that you have this traditional composition of hunter support in the long lane, mage in the mid lane, assassin in the jungle, warrior in the solo. And if you want to play Najah solo, right? Like, what are you losing? Well, you're not losing crowd control. Najah has the crowd control. You're gaining some damage, but you're losing frontline. So how do you fix that? Play Jean Kui. Right? There, now you picked up the tankiness somewhere else. That's what you got to be thinking of when you're doing this. So by picking the Hades in the jungle, what are you losing? You're losing Assassin Burst. Hades has Burst. What are you losing? Gank ability and the ability to really help out in the laning phase, I think, is really what you're losing by picking this Hades jungle. And there you just kind of expect your laners to do a better job. Sanguine right now, not really doing it.
Raw coming over and really putting it to face. Stygian Torment grabs him, pulls him down, but he's all out of abilities. Fates does rotate in and put the hurting on the Bruh, but Bruh's not done with Face just yet. Death from below will get him away. Face survives, but Bruh undeterred, still fighting it out with Fates here in solo lane. Cope's on his way.
Bruh played that really intelligently. Cope here to look for the Fates, and last breath could have hit him. Facing attack will. That might be enough dot damage, but Bruh confirms it. Cope with the last hit. That was a scenario where you kind of watched Face almost have the upper hand there, but Bruh played that very intelligently. He made sure to kill the minions before Devour Souls came out. Devour Souls does explode damage. I sort of explained this before, where it's going to do extra damage for the minions that get killed. Boom. And Bruh now jumped down. You get hit by the Pillar of Agony. This could be the kill. Oh.
He needs Death from below to try and close the gap.
It's time to about Face.
Not going to end up happening. Bruh survives. But that is, Tom's giving me a cartoonish look right now. It's ridiculous. But I heard you say about Face. I was there.
Thank you.
But not able to find it. That is kind of, though, the scenario you want from the Hades, right? Where you catch them with the jump down and no other way to get out, and you're able to kind of trap them in that Pillar of Agony. Yep. But even then, in that situation up against the Cerberus, he just didn't have enough. He's a good bit behind Cope. About a level and a half. I think he just ticked over level 10, so that's kind of hurting him here up against the tankier Cerberus.
Yeah, it definitely needs a little bit more damage, and the fact that Cerberus hasn't built any magical damage or magical protection means that it's just going to get worse. It's now itemizing into it.
Mineral in a whole lot of trouble. I mean, he has just been the target here in the mid lane. 0-4-0 already. Armada, particularly Cope, have really been looking for him every chance they get.
I mean, Armada, you could just say, is Cope. 6 kills, 5 of them Cope has gotten. And P.S., he has an assist. 100% kill participation for the jungler today on Armada. Really, really, really clean stuff. Cope is a player that was in the Pro League. Whether or not he deserved to be there or performed the way that he was expected to is a different story. And I like this move to the minor league 1 because I got a chance to meet Cope. He came to land with ALG. And Cope's a guy that wants to earn his right and doesn't really, he's not going to give up. So when he got kind of pushed out of the Pro League, he didn't say, all right, well, that was fun. He said, all right, I'm going to continue to improve. And Cope in the minor league, this Cope is flat out a better player than he used to be. And it's very exciting for me because I think he's an exciting guy. I think he's flat out just cool. Can I say that? He's a cool dude. And I think it's very positive that he sort of went back to the drawing board, back to the place where he sort of missed. He skipped that step. He just went right to the Pro League. He didn't do any of that glow up. So here, this is his opportunity to get a little bit better, get a little bit more opportunity under his skin. And now he's just running the game. 6 kills in total, 100% kill participation. Bruh's going to show up. Cope's going to get another one. P.S. Sanguine on the left side doing gold.
Well, that's the right call now that Cope and Bruh both shown face on the right-hand side. Sanguine do get the gold Fury to kind of pay for the sacrifice Face's mate, but now Sabbath in some trouble. Face unable to punish correctly, so they are able to fall back. But this is the difference we're seeing. Well, Sheikah might have a chance to catch out Mineral. Strife and Unruly Magic. It's a ton of damage. Sabbath looking for the root, but Beads forced out.
Yeah, nice job there from Mineral to make sure to avoid the Groggy Strike root. Face now being chased down, and Bruh gonna go on top. There's the ultimate, and they found him. They chased Face, and they put him in his place.
Face off. That's what I'm going to call that one. Since you did your dumb about Face joke, I did a bad one too.
I really liked that movie, actually.
Sure.
That was a great movie.
I don't know how I don't think that it was.
It was a great movie. They wore each other's faces.
I understand the premise of the film.
So they wore a different face. So that would be a better joke if he was playing the Morrigan.
That would be a pretty cool joke. And Sybil, it's not really a joke for him at all. He ends up falling just to the poison, spreads over to Fates, who is going to drop the cage so that he can escape. But I think we're seeing the difference between a jungle Serket early and a jungle Hades. Cope really is being able to sort of harass the backline, and that's what I feel like you're missing with this Hades, is that you can't get back there and kind of punish the immobile Raw the same way.
Hades will have that ability to go to the backline. That is a positive. Mineral just getting kind of handled here by the Shivalanke. The nice thing about Face's jump is that it will be able to go underneath, essentially.
Sure, but it's not the same sort of chase that a Serket can do.
Oh, nobody can match that.
Right. But you're talking about bouncing it earlier. Well, they do have some ways to kind of make up for that, right?
See, Hades is a mid-game monster.
He's good.
Early game doesn't really do much. Now that he's got his Bancroft and he's going to be building into this Rod of Asclepius, he's going to have a little bit more power, make that a lot of bit more power, and he's going to start swinging. And this is where you got to be afraid of Face, pretty much here. But the past 15 minutes, you really don't have to be afraid of Face.
Cope on the run. He's a little bit afraid right now. There's 3 members of Sanguine lurking in the jungle. Is going to jump in underneath, gets mezzed immediately. Sabbath able to use this time to try and get away, but Fates does such a good job keeping him slow and controlled. Still can't make it back to the tower yet. But Sabbath, even though he's level 10, too tanky Face, does get controlled by the Cobra's Kiss, but the knock-up is a little bit better from Sybil.
Meanwhile, here comes Face looking for the ultimate on top of the support player. Gets isolated by the mage. There's a hit from the solo, and Sheikah puts him in his
And that shows you how unconcerned Sabbath was. He ulted back in towards Face to do just a little bit more damage. He really wasn't worried about that Pillar of Agony at all, it appeared, as he trades out with Diesel.
Yeah, just not the right target whatsoever. 24 stacks in the Gauntlet of Thebes. He already has some magical protections going for him, so just not the right place for a Face to really look at. I didn't like that. Or excuse me, the completed Gauntlet of Thebes, so even worse. PS, building into more magical defense. Face made the wrong choice there as far as the target.
Yeah, it's going to give him some nice benefit early against the Bacchus, the Ra, and the Hades, who can have some strong magical damage. So I'm like that Sabbath kind of itemizing into this to make them less effective. Yeah.
I'm actually very, very concerned, or concerned is the wrong term. I find it curious that we don't see a first item Heartward instead of Thebes almost. Mineral going to avoid with the CC immunity.
Going to continue to try and chase down Mineral, but they've already forced away his Purification Beads. Pretty big win. Sybil coming in and trying to peel for him, but Sop's able to make it out of there. Didn't have the beads available anyway, but Rising Jaguar's pretty good. Now Fates kind of needs to leave. Unruly Magic clips him, but he's back underneath the tier 2 and should be fine.
So right now, Armada have a pretty commanding lead. Sanguine, if they want to find a way into it, it's going to be underneath these towers. Face is very, very good. The Hades is a great pick for defending these towers. I want to see once his ultimate comes back up, which it is, defend under a tier 2. This chase, I don't hate it, but it's certainly, you don't have the benefit of the extra man.
Last breath's already been put onto Fates, who does drop the cage. Apple goes through, doesn't find anyone. Sabbath locked inside the cage. The sun's burning too hot in Mineral. Gonna find the kill. Snipe used. But Bruh's going to continue to chase down Sybil, who's fallen low himself. Unruly Magic doesn't land, neither is a Paralyzing Spit. Sybil is out of there.
Nice play from Sanguine. That was a clean play, one of the cleanest plays they've had all game. They isolate a player and they cut him down. Now, it was the support, and I think that is actually the wrong choice again. But at the end of the day, if you're able to get a 1 for 0 and you're behind 7,000 gold, anything is a win. So I will absolutely take that for Sanguine. Next time I want to see them prioritize somebody squishy that's not Cope, because he is going to just kill you. But look for Shaker or Sops. I think they are reasonable targets to lock down and then find the kill onto later.
You mentioned it, Sanguine. Kind of looking up at Armada right now, down about 7,000 gold. You can see the experience is rough too with how low Mineral is behind Sheikah. 9,600 experience deficit. Those levels really starting to cause some problems. I mean, we are moving into the point of the game where Hades is going to be strong, but I mean, are they getting there too far behind? Kind of feels like the question.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Right now, Hades is kind of hitting his stride, and I'd like to see him make some moves. No penetration online whatsoever outside of the Assassin's Blessing. He's got 10 pen. That's going to be an issue. I almost would have liked to see the penetration before the Rod of Asclepius. I think that might have been the good move. Looking across the way and seeing Harward in the solo lane, Anchile in the jungle, Pestilence in the support role. There's a plethora of magical protections available for Armada already, and Sanguine's jungler damage dealer has no penetration to work against it. That's an issue.
Yeah, it's even the Spear of Desolation coming out here from Mineral to try and give him as much cooldown as possible, along with that Mage's Blessing. So they should be able to get some shots off often. That's kind of the best that they have as the Apple comes through the team fight. Mineral already low on the back end. Fates drops the cage, but Bruh jumps right on through. Mineral uses the ultimate so doesn't get controlled, but everyone else does. Bruh takes down the mid lane mage first. Now Cope is in the fray, but there's just too much damage. He's falling back. Sprint comes out, as now they're going to look for Face.
Yeah, he's kind of isolated here, wants to group up and cut down the enemy, but the zigzag does a ton of damage. Face finds the jump away, and Cope will walk away as well. Mineral's the only one that's really going to fall here, but it's more about the zone.
Absolutely.
Armada picks up the Gold Fury. Really, really nice.
They were able to find the kill onto the mid lane mage and find the Gold Fury without giving up much of anything. Beads did have to come out from Cope and as well as from Soft, but everyone else appears to be rather comfortable. They can still group up and defend, but what a ricochet. Cope ends up getting caught at the very end of that by Diesel, who's been looking for those shots all game long.
Yeah, Diesel finding one. Meanwhile, I thought Sops was going to get that.
Unable to, but he's still going to put damage into Faints, at least while he's still here. But that's something I'm seeing from Diesel. He's not been just looking for the straight up ricochets. They have not all been landing by any stretch, but he's been looking for all the bounces this whole game long, and I like that. When you're playing Ho Yi, you gotta look for those shots.
Yeah, you like high volume shooters going for the shots that occasionally land, and when they do, they look really good. Me too, John Finch. Me too.
I don't think those are the same.
That's exactly what you just said.
If Diesel takes a shot with Ricochet, that's not them losing a whole possession to a J.R. Smith 20% shot attempt. That's not the same thing.
What are you talking about?
Okay. All right.
What are you talking about?
Looked like Speed Buff did get stripped away, as now Armada going to turn their attention towards the Pyromancer and move right over to the Fire Giant now, force Sanguine into a fight they perhaps don't want.
Oh, Finch, I love this play. This is playing your lead. We're just going to go for the Fire Giant. And if you guys want to show up to the party, that's cool. We'll just kick you in the teeth. Sanguine are down virtually 10,000 gold right now, and they can't fight Armada. And Armada are just saying, I wish you would. Just please come over so I can beat you up. Sanguine right now do not have positioning, do not have the numbers, do not have the gold. They just don't have the team fight, and Armada are tired of waiting.
Sops has already dropped the ult in Face. Never even gets to play the game. Gets deleted very early on. Now Sabbath is in trouble inside the Odin cage, but a lot expended just to take out the Kumbhakarna. Mineral falls on the right-hand side. Sheikah on a killing spree. Sybil right in the middle of everyone. Does get them all drunk, but I don't think they care very much. Sops takes him down. That's 3 members of Sanguine for 1 member of Armada. 4v2. Armada still looking strong.
Yeah, Sybil drops the ultimate, and Armada's just going shots, 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 shots. They cut down 3 separate players, only 2 dudes to play defense. With that said, Fates can absolutely play defense here. Shows its face, and that could be an issue here, Finch.
Strife lands, stun comes through over the wall. Cope is the one that's going to be able to go through, even with all those protections. Fates is jumping in, but they still have not bursted the Fire Giant very low. Soft bring Fates down. Fire Giant goes to Armada, and I think Sabbath might even have made it back up in time for it. It was very close. Yes, everyone gets the buff.
Everybody eats. Shout outs to my man, Brother Nature, on Twitter. One of my more favorite content creators at the moment. But right now, Armada certainly eating 59,000 gold, John Finch. I mean, they're 9,000 above the opposition. They're just crushing it. And they've been doing it systematically off of the back of Cope.
Yes.
And this is what I really like about watching this team, is that Cope is on Circuit, which has a decent early and mid game, right? That's where she really dominates. Late game, she can kill you, but that last breath puts her in a precarious situation. She's not what I would call a late game character. She really makes the most of her money in the early and the mid game. Well, Sheikah is a god built for the late game. So quite literally the handoff, it's like Cope's been running down the field with the ball in his hand and just goes, hey, Sheikah, your turn. Here you go. And now Sheikah's the one that's just doing all the damage. Number 3 overall behind Cope, who handled the early game, and he's going to supersede that in a moment.
And Bruh and Sheikah, I feel like, really have been working very well in tandem with Cope,
Yeah.
too. Sheikah's strifes have been nuts all game long. Not always there with the apple, but it doesn't matter when you're two-man strifing or catching him on the tail end of them and setting up for the rest of the squad. He's been great, too.
Sheikah's been doing what Diesel was doing with the ricochets. Sheikah's just been chucking the apple out there, trying to find some ping pong to the back line, and I'll take it. I like it.
Face really has never even gotten a chance to get started, it feels like, this game. Just being constantly punished whenever they catch him out. Tier 2 tower and duo already down. Tier 2 and mid now under siege. They're not even going to go for the Tier 2 and right. They want to group up for their 5v4 for this Phoenix in the middle lane. Already blinking in is Sabbath.
Yeah, it just ended. Armada want to see this one go away. Sybil, 70%. Diesel knocked up to the sky and able to walk away, but the mid lane Phoenix can't do that. He's stationary, and now he's history.
Sop's free to swing at the Phoenix, and we're seeing what that late game Xbalanque can do as well in terms of structure damage. Brings that Phoenix down very, very quickly with the Fire Giant buff helping. Bruh is stuck a little bit further forward, but I don't think he's particularly worried. Jumps right back out of there, and Armada are looking for the Phoenix on the left-hand side now.
Yeah, his push is going to be rather interesting. I like Bruh's positioning here. His ultimates have been out of control as well. So, funny turn of phrase, because it's all the control that Armada are using. He hits the ultimate, tosses them in the direction of Sheikah. Strife lands, everything else lands, and then everybody dies that's not on an Armada team.
Sabbath goes forward, looking for the Mez. Sunbreaker does come out from Diesel and the Searing Pain. Sabbath and Sobs both take some damage. Face now here to try and see if he can punish them, but Phantom gets everybody out of the cage. A big heal from Face to keep him still standing. A gets forced out from Sobs as well. Can't find the autos. Face still juking around for the moment, but Sheikah puts him down.
A momentary reprieve for the jungle Hades. Sheikah with the double as he takes down Odin. Sybil going to be jumped on top. Cope, baby, finds it. Kill number 9. That's a love potion if I've ever seen it. Armada hit Blackjack Finch, and I think that's it.
Diesel, at the very least, is able to find one more kill at the back end, it looks like, onto Bruh. 3-member strong Armada. Considering going for this Titan, they don't have anyone here to tank it. They don't have a minion wave. Cope is able to get the Cobra's Kiss onto Diesel, but can't get into the fountain. Titan is beating him from the back. Now they have a minion wave. They're going to have some help here in the form of Mineral in just a few seconds, but Titan is being brought down low. Diesel gets the stun, takes down Sheikah. I think he's defended the base.
Yeah, I think this is a retreat from Armada. Sanguine right now, good job from Diesel there. Excellent job to keep Armada at bay. And I like what Armada did there. They went for it, but they didn't full commit.
Right.
I don't think the full commit gets that either. So they go for it, they just try it, they test the water, and they have to jump back out.
And they force Diesel to play it perfectly like he does,
Yes.
right? If Diesel comes even a little bit further out when Cope is aggressing onto him,
He's
Cope
dead.
gets that kill there, right?
And-
if he's not
yeah.
perfect with the stun onto Sheikah underneath the Titan, Sheikah lives and falls back. So they force him to play perfect, he's perfect, and everything's okay.
Exactly. That's almost like a pop quiz. It's like, all right, will you pass or fail? If you fail, you lose this game.
Right.
If you pass, well, you get another couple of minutes in this one. Will it be enough for Sanguine to sort of bounce back is a bigger question. I'm not so sure I have the answer to that one, John Finch.
Well, they've had a rough time of it so far. We still haven't really gotten to see, you know how at certain points in the game, the composition, you have that moment, that team fight where you go, okay, this is what the composition's trying to do. Finally, it's sort of shining through and we have that. We still haven't quite had that moment yet from Sanguine where we've seen all the pieces come together and work. So even though they're still in this game, I mean, are they in this game with a broken deck? Do they have enough cards?
At this point, they're totally fine. At this point, you don't need a jungler. You need 5 competent players. And Fates, Face, Mineral, Sybil, Diesel. The conversation of does Jungle Hades work is largely irrelevant. Now you just have a Hades on your team instead of an assassin.
Fate's in some trouble. Fall. Sops takes him down. Odin Cage had to be expended, but not even enough to keep him alive. This should guarantee Fire Giant over here to Armada Esports. No way Sanguine can come out and defend. There's still the tier 2 tower standing
Thank
in
you.
solo, as well as the Phoenix, so they've got to go push that up as well. Meanwhile, Sanguine take this opportunity to try and push up some waves.
I never want to see your Hunter taking the Fire Giant. He does less damage when the Fire Giant hits him with the debuff. It's a small nitpick, but when you're up 20,000 gold, I'm allowed to small nitpick you. So Armada right there. They started off with the Hunter and they passed it off. Not my favorite play in the world, but whatever.
Yeah, when you're up 20,000 gold, it's hard to large nitpick you because you're doing a lot of things right. So
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing is that, like, if I'm calling out things like that,
yeah,
everything else you're doing is good, buddy.
Absolutely.
So,
definitely in a good spot here is Armada.
Look at this squad. 5-0-9, 5-2-10, 9-0-11, 3-1-13 for the carries. And then the tank is 0-3-11. PS, there's 22 kills on the map. I mean, this is exactly kind of how you want your team to go.
Mid Phoenix is the weakened Phoenix, and that is exactly the one they're going to target. Cope kind of lurking off to the side to try and split focus, but Sabbath is already in. Brawl comes in as well to cause chaos. Fate stays on the front side, does have the Odin Cage available, but can't stand inside the damage from Shake and Sops. Mid Phoenix falls. Fates jumps back in, but Cope is right there with the last breath. Fates already removed. Face can't even make it back out. Has the Aegis, but the big damage from Sops is just too much. He retreats.
And there's Face on the left-hand side. Going to be taken over. Cope gets the kill.
And now they're moving into the Titan room. Only 3 members standing of Sanguine trying to defend. Sunbreaker does come out to force them back, but they just move outside of it. Sops damaging them inside the fountain. Sheikah putting the damage onto the Titan room. They can't even move out from the fountain. Game 1 going over to Armada Esports, and they do it looking pretty competent the whole time.
Yeah, 25-6, just under a half-hour of regulation play. And, I mean, these guys just doing exactly what they came to do, Finch. The oddball jungle selection did not throw them off their game
Not at all.
whatsoever. They knew exactly how to deal with it. And at the end of the day, sometimes your jungler just goes off. This is a jungler-driven league, and when your jungler starts the game 7-0, you probably win.
No, you're almost certainly going to be in a good spot after that one. And I don't want this one to always be a referendum on Jungle Hades. I mean, this was just a rough game, right?
Yeah.
So one game can happen. I'm sure that FaZe has success with this most of the times he tries, or he would not have pulled it out here.
Sure.
There we go. Well, we'll get it back over to the desk. They'll break that set or that game down. Still got more to go in the set. A little bit more detail.
Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, an interesting game between the two, but it was all Armada from the outset, all the way on. Cope went off on a tear.
Yeah, look, there was a lot of discussion about the Hades jungle during the cast, and I think that for the most part I agree with FDOT and with Finch that game isn't lost as soon as that Hades jungle is there, but you are setting yourself up for a harder game in that situation. Look, Hades does a lot of things very well. Mid to late game team fights, if he's tanky enough, can do great work in there. His disruption is great with the 2, but what is your damage coming from in the middle of the like off your gank? Your burst damage is Devour Souls, which is like it's mostly scaling. It's 120% scaling, but with Blight on you, but it's very low in base damage, and you're just not gonna make things happen when you're ganking a lane with Hades.
But is it not worth, like, going to the lane, burn the beads, come back again, and then... I mean, you're not there for the damage then, you're there for the CC, right?
Sure. I can think of a lot of assassins that do that just as well, if not better.
Or Guardians.
Or Guardians, with more safety, with more clear in the jungle, with a better late game opportunity that just don't do what Hades... that you don't have to pick Hades for that. If that's what you're looking for, then Hades... Can he do that? Yes. Does he do that better than anyone else, or really better than most? No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, that's a real talking point then of how well that Hades worked out. On to game 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see, what needs to change? No Hades jungle?
No Hades jungle, also something that can handle Cope whatsoever. I mean, Cope just got off to a huge tear in that game, and as I said, if your jungler starts out 7-0, that game is almost certainly going to go in your favor. Like 98% of the time, you will win that game. Sheikah played well in the Discordia. I wouldn't try and ban out Sheikah. His god pool is weird and big and eclectic. Don't worry about him. He's going to do his own thing. I'd worry about what Cope's doing in the jungle.
All right, then. Into picks and bans we go. Let's see if they make some adjustments and try and shut down some of that Cope 7-0 in the jungle. You don't want to see that at the start of a game, I'll tell you that much. Next game, though, important one yet again. Armada still trying to stay on the heels of the #1 seed. Very nice to me in SMITE Minor League. This with one more week to go. It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's unlikely. Probably not even possible.
They might be able to do it. They have a game against Very Nice to Me still to go, and that's the big one. If they need to just make sure that they're not overlooking their current opponents or the opponents before that. You have to stay focused on what's in front of you. But in the back of your mind, start getting ready for that very nice to me matchup.
Chango Chernobog, same two Bounzos game 1 between these two teams. Back to Armada again for that next election.
Last time it was the Guan Yu ban here for Armada. Clearly worried about the healers, and Sanguine still got the Raw very early on for Mineral, but Mineral struggled in that game and kind of has struggled since moving to the mid lane. And that's something that Sanguine need to find a good opportunity for him to stay comfortable, get the right pick for him. He's played a lot of the Raw, and it really hasn't worked out. So I certainly wouldn't be picking it as early as they have been recently.
So back to Sanguine we go with the same Guan Yu band, so it's very similar in terms of the band so far. I will say with the Hades jungle, I guess, with how the season's gone so far for Sanguine, they can't make the LAN at this point in time.
Right.
So is it that bad of them experimenting with things like Hades jungle, or is that something that should have been like tested in a ranked game and gone, maybe not?
I mean, I'm sure they scrimmed with it. I
Sure.
would hope they scrimmed with it. And there is some merit to saying maybe they just won't be ready for something like this, and we'll throw it out there and see if we can catch them off guard. I just still am not a big believer in Hades jungle. I don't know. There are more weird junglers out there that could have thrown them off guard, more so than Hades.
Well, a bit of an adjustment here because Athena was banned game 1. Instead, she's going to be left open and Jibbalonke taken off. So Armada make the adjustment. They pick Jibba game 1. This time they're going to go with the Athena.
Yeah, whatever they leave open for Sanguine, Armada ends up taking, as you mentioned. So it's still global effectiveness with the Athena as opposed to the Jibbalonke, but giving Diesel a better opportunity in lane. Diesel made some nice plays in that game. He had that really slick little triple bounce onto Cope that nearly killed him.
Yeah.
He defended the Titan near the end of the game. Diesel giving him a better lane opponent wouldn't be a bad idea.
It's funny, whenever I hear Achilles cheer like that, it sounds like Apollo for a second. I'm like, oh, we're going to get an Apollo.
Yeah, I
game.
know, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Achilles, Athena, both the A's selected. What's left? Amuz and Carb, Agni. Agni's
Agni's
taken
already,
2.
Yeah, Amuz and Cobb is
So the only one? Amaterasu?
Ama, yep, on her.
I know, we're playing all the A's now.
I know.
You could make
This
a
is-
whole comp of
This,
A's.
this is a quiz.
They
yeah.
ruined it. This is Achiman locked in 2.
Hachiman.
Achiman, you like
yeah.
it?
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
Oh,
at all.
okay.
No, a good attempt. Hachiman is kind of like just the vanilla of hunters. Like he does.
Is that how you feel about it?
I mean, I really like vanilla.
Sure.
So for the record, I think vanilla is my favorite.
You're
ice
very
cream.
basic, so I get it.
Yeah, exactly. I love vanilla.
Yeah.
But he doesn't excel at anything better than anyone else.
Sure.
He's not awful at anything. He's a safe, like, I don't know what my team wants to pick here, so I'll just take Hachiman, and
Just-
it'll probably be fine.
Give me Achiman. And then in response, Susano locked in for Sanguine in the jungle. So a lot of mobility then on the side of Sanguine with the Agni Susano. Agni pretty safe and stays away. But Susano, like the main thing
Yep.
there, like we see him in and out of competition. He's there, but he's not like the be-all and end-all of the jungle.
No, but a lot of times he has been for Cope in this Armada squad, so I like that Sanguine take that away. This basically acts as a third ban in this
Right.
spot, where FaZe gets to play this and it fits their team composition, it can work well for them, but it also takes it out of Cope's hands. And now I'd like to see Sanguine keep up with the jungler bans. The Circuit is a great start.
Well, Sanguine still need themselves a hunter. Diesel in that duo lane. We'll find out how he does with this as this game goes on, because Odin being banned away. Don't mind the Odin ban there. Achilles, Hachiman, and Athena all struggle against that ring, and it's really the only thing people think of when they think of Odin is the ring.
It's more about the early pressure that he can provide.
People forget about the bird bombs and the
bird
damage
bomb
he
is
puts out.
really, really good. I think he could be a solid jungler a lot of the time. I agree with you. I think Odin is boiled down a little bit too much oftentimes by the community and understanding what he brings to a team
Yeah, I
composition.
completely agree. Then back to Armada for their final ban in a second after Raw has been banned away by Sanguine, so some small adjustments there. Armada obviously needing a mage and a jungler, although that Achilles is flexible, as is the Athena.
Yeah, I anticipate that Achilles may actually be going into the jungle here for Cope. And I like the Ra ban. Ra's phenomenal follow-up off of Athena taunt. Even just Celestial Beam does so much damage in that mid to late game that you kind of need to take that away because of the safety that he could shoot it from. I wonder if we're going to see something like a Thoth that can fill that same sort of role for Sheikah.
Cerberus, the last ban then from Armada. It's over to Sanguine for their next pick. Could go with the Hunter here and leave the last pick available to get the counter option in that solo lane, potentially.
That's what I would be doing here if I'm on Sanguine. Take the Hu Yi if that's what Diesel wants again. Jibbalonke's banned, but Artemis is still open.
say,
Artemis has been
yeah.
really, really big so far in this Season 5, specifically the summer split. I think Artemis is where I'd be going.
Could be Jing Wei, one of the safer options. The mobility to get it in and out of combat, but not only that, that passive that just lets you farm a little bit quicker, if anything, and regen that health in case you do take poke trades that don't go in your favor.
Yeah, Jingwei is fine. Jingwei is like good.
She's like Achiman.
No, she's a little bit different than Hachima. I'm getting worried that you're gonna like stick with this.
No.
And I don't like
I'm
it. Jingwei, like she's probably not gonna lose you the game in a lot of ways, but if you don't get off to a good start, you really need to go off in the late game. Sometimes Jingweis just feel like they're along for the ride.
Hell and Thor, the last 2 picks then. So with that Hell pickup, plenty of sustain, but Agony does have an easy way of applying that Divine Ruin.
He does, but this is good setup or good peel
There's a lot of
for
peel,
this
yeah.
Hell. I mean, there is CC on every other member of Armada. The Sobek selection last, I think, is very smart. It does really concede lane pressure pretty heavily
Nullifies it,
to
though.
the Achilles, but you're not going to get pressure against Achilles anyway.
Sure.
So you may as well pick something that can team fight very well in the late game. Sobek can do that. He also has anti-heal in the kit with that Sickening Strike. I really like this Sobek selection as the last pick.
Outside that Sobek, though, what about Osiris there? Would that have also done a similar thing? He could have potentially taken on Achilles, or is that a losing matchup now?
No, you're not going to out-pressure an Achilles with Osiris, and Osiris without pressure is a bad idea.
Sure.
You know, you're just going to get bullied, and then your strongest part of your game, which is your early to mid, isn't really that effective already, and then your late game is kind of lacking. Whereas Sobek is used to being bad in that early game, in that early to mid game. He needs 3 or 4 items, but once he gets there, his disruption in team fights is nearly unmatched. It's also a great idea against the Athena, because what do we see all the time? It's just Athena, dash, taunt. If you can just pluck the Athena as soon as she dashes in, that separates her greatly from the rest of the team, will take her away from the follow-up, will take her away from the peel the rest of Armada will likely have, and you've got a lot of damage between the Jingwei and the Agni
Sure.
to try and burn her down.
Well, with this then, I mean, Sanguine's game plan, what should it be? Where should the focus be going from jungle here? Where should we be seeing Face look to pressure? The Hell?
I think
Is
the
it
Hell
Hell
is
pressure?
the right call here. Yeah, I mean, you can bait out a lot of that cleanse from Hell very early on with Susanoo. You just sit around her. She'll eventually use the cleanse to try and immune the Wind Siphon. That means Typhoon is going to be good. You can even hold the Wind Siphon and just wait it out. I think that the Susanoo should spend a lot of time in the mid lane, because if Shake It gets a free laning phase, gets off to another lead like he did in game 1, it's going to be even harder to stop him than it was on the Discordia.
And on top of that as well, Cope as well on that Thor this time round. We'll see how this works out with Thor, because Cope probably running this, or could it be solo Thor?
No, this is going to be Thor for Cope in the jungle. I'd be very, very surprised if it was anything but Thor jungle.
Okay, well, before we get ourselves into this game, we've got a bit of a hiccup at the moment that we're taking care of. So we're going to go to a very quick wait screen, and when we get back, we'll bring you the action from this minor league game. Welcome back. Apologies for the delays, but I hope you all got a chance to use the restroom and also grab yourselves a drink because Armada and Sanguine are about to go underway. Before we go to the casters real quick, who's your money on?
Armada played so well in game one. I've still got him here in game two.
All right, well, let's get it over to the jovial John and the bear killer himself again, F-Dot.
Thank you, Hinderman. Thank you, Aggro. May we never forget, by the way, rip in peace, that bear. Just about ready to move into game here between Armada and Sanguine. Go ahead. What's up? Yeah, what's on your mind? Yeah.
The bear is not dead.
Oh, no. You just broke all his legs? Didn't take care of him in any way, shape, or form?
Game 2, Armada versus their opponent. Game number 1, Armada, very strong.
They look good.
Beat up the Hades jungle. Now face on a more traditional choice. We'll see how it works out.
Already, duo lane, though, is underway. Sabbath and Sops can try and push back Sybil and Diesel at least the best they can. And again, this is going to be the one where Sheikah's on the hell. Remember, he got to a great start on the Discordia last game, and now is on a god that, if left unchecked, could potentially be even more devastating here.
Yeah, the hell is very, very... It's a very interesting choice. She has the upper hand at like level 1 because as a stand switcher, she has access to more abilities, and I think that carries over to level 2 as well if she puts her points into her first ability, because then she has 4 versus 2. But then after that, after level 1 and level 2, she really kind of pales in comparison to the mage across the way until she reaches that mid-game stride where she has her first item or second item online and can actually provide the damage. Because make no bones about it, Finch, hell brings the damage. And Sheikah's hell is actually very good.
Looking for the red buff invade. Weren't quite able to find it where Armada. Mineral's going to come over and grab this one. This game, he's on the Agni as opposed to the Ra. He was kind of the immobile mage that was getting punished a little bit by Cope last game, but on the Agni with the dash, with those stuns, it should be a little bit harder for Cope to punish the way he did in game 1.
Yeah, I think so as well. But he's also looking for a different game here. Cope dishing out some damage versus Face, but like I said, he's looking more for this mid-game gank ability, setup man. He's not the early game carry that he was on the Circuit, and that's okay.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be a different game style from both of them. We're not going to be seeing him so much going around finding, 7-0 and 7, as so much as you said, kind of using that Anvil of Dawn, using the walls, sort of facilitate for the rest of the team. And I like that they kind of took that poke trade. As long as Sheikah has mana, they'll probably come out a little bit better in those trades because, they can just sustain through it, whereas Sanguine don't quite have that same option. Cope, though, is caught in his own jungle, hammered away, but Face chased him out, makes it back to the tier 1 just barely.
Yeah, Mineral unable to find the stun there. That certainly would have been first blood for Sanguine. And yeah, they're looking for all-in potential. They got to get these kills very early in the team fights. With their composition, it will be kind of tough, but Face has the ability to really chase down individuals, and that should be a positive. What Sanguine have to look out for is Sheikah's ability to cleanse out the crowd control. Sybil, one of the most annoying characters in the game when it comes down to lockdown potential, but Sheikah, with a push of a button, can make you glow orange? No, that's a tannic salon. But it'll make you glow gold, and then you'll be CC immune.
That Telltale CC immune shimmer that you'll have as well to shake up with that cleanse could cause some problems for Mineral too. That might be the best thing about Agni. I mean, his damage is really good, so it's hard to say anything's better than that. But I mean, the control that he's able to bring from a mid lane mage without having to give up your long range burst damage, without really having to give up much else, I think is part of what makes his Agni so strong in the middle lane. So Sheikah does have the ability to mitigate that. A lot going to be relying not just on Sheikah's ability to, stay relevant, but on the ability to get the most out of that cleanse.
I think Agni is a very good character right now. Perhaps one of the best mid lane mages around. Like you said, he's got a ton of control, and the damage, his ult is split into 3, so he doesn't just crack in and get a lot of overkill. A lot of his damage is effective damage. Tossing bombs over the wall, dealing some damage to players, but not too much. Really what I'm looking for here is, or really what I'm trying to get at is that Agni is just such a great pick. And his early game, which used to be abysmal, and that was kind of the trade-off, well, now with Mage's Blessing, it kind of amplifies it. So that's not really the case. So he's kind of just good.
Yeah, and it also helps that, struggling in the early game isn't quite as punishable as it used to be. There was a time when just having the early game clear was so strong that you could kind of go around, get the jungle, and have control of it for the rest of the game, but not so much the case. Stuff spawns so often, you're not punished for missing out on one as much, so not only is he better at it, but you're not quite as much punished for it as you used to be.
Yeah, certainly things around the characters change the characters as well. Everybody tends to look at the buffs and debuffs. Right now, we're looking at Bruh, and he's about to get debuffed.
Bruh's in some trouble. Looks like Face assumed this kill was going to happen. Fates does find it underneath the tier 2 tower with the Sickening Strike. First blood goes to Sanguine on the Sobek in the solo lane.
I almost wish Face didn't get the assist there. That was lazy play. You should follow that up. There's no rotation coming out. You know that. You have vision in the middle lane. Make that kill happen. Ensure that it does. No harm, no foul, because Fates gets to kill. But that was a little bit lazy, and Face needs to clean that up.
There was a little bit of struggles in game 1, without a doubt, on the Hades. This time on the Susanoo, a much more traditional jungler that has some margin for error for it. But as you said, got to make sure he's 100%, because we saw that when Cope's on fire, this Armada team is hard to stop. Sanguine gonna need their own jungler to be right there with them. And Face has the opportunity to do it this game on the Susanoo, has the assist, gave the kill over to a solo laner, and they're off to a good start.
I like the way you put that. He gave the kill over to a solo laner. Sure. I definitely don't want a Susanoo with First Blood running around the map, doing what he can do, right? Being one of the most mobile characters in the entire game and being able to 100-0 you if he has a little bit of a lead thanks to First Blood. Definitely not. I'd rather give it to the solo Sobek,
who immediately ends up falling as the rotation comes over from Cope. Crashes in with the Anvil of Dawn. Nice pair up with Bruh. And they're able to find the kill. Sheikah in some trouble. Has to use Purification Beads, but Sabbath and Cope are both making the rotation. Doesn't get the heal, but Sheikah should be okay. Cope control, but the wall could potentially set it up, but Face on the other side. No real follow-up, and now he could be in some trouble. Cope now forced to retreat and use his own beads.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Getting the Thor's beads is certainly something Face is going to keep in mind. He's able to just really trouble the Thor if he doesn't have CC immunity readily available. So Face should pay attention to that. Face's ultimate used, and the invade successful. Taunted into trouble, though. Have HP, and he's gone.
Well, he does get the ultimate. He does die for it. Epic Uppercut is enough to take down Cope in response, so jungler for jungler. And the first kill, though, doesn't really actually go to Face, so the junglers are falling. They don't get any kills out of it, but at least the red buff was stripped away. Trying to take a little bit of farm away from Armada. But this is still a bit of a win, I would say, for Sanguine. They got a lot of beads away from Armada there in the mid lane. That was pretty good from Cope and Sheikah.
Yeah, 3 sets of beads. Cope, Sheikah, Sabbath, all, or Sabbath uses the shell, excuse me. But 3 relics expended for that fight in the middle lane. Sanguine doing a great job there. Actually have a technical lead here, which is certainly a nice change of pace from game number 1.
Where they were kind of behind thanks to Cope's early lead. This time, though, Face done a little bit of a better job keeping pace, I feel like, with Cope early on, possibly just because it's not the Circuit, and it's very difficult for any jungler to keep up with what Circuit can do for you in the jungle, especially early. As Sybil actually going in aggressive, Sops looks like he was able to make it out of there. Okay, so Sybil not going to be able to find it there in the dual lane, but Sops one of the few on Armada that still have the beads available. Actually, Diesel jumping in aggressively, finding those explosive bolt shots. Sybil is going to go into the tower for the Groggy Strike, but beads still available. That's enough to force Defender of Olympus from Sabbath.
Yeah, I really like that play coming out from Sybil, just understanding how much damage he can put out and take in from the tower. Forcing the beads out of Sops, a really important play.
Now Sabbath is over here in the dual lane, and the dual lane is where he shall be as Bruh finds Fates. Yet again, Cope able to come over and punish this Sobek early on. A great rotation from this jungler. We don't often see this much attention on the solo lane anymore. We do sometimes still. It's not completely unheard of as Bruh takes the tier 1 tower, but Cope has made an effort to come over here and try and take down this Sobek early.
Cope's on a character that just deals with Sobek very well. That wall certainly a big deal. Now fighting on the left-hand side, isolates Mineral from the rest, but Sybil with the knockup.
Does send Sabbath up into the air, but Sybil's the one that takes all the damage. Face controls 2 with the Typhoon. They just need a couple more autos, and Sybil will be brought down. Diesel, though, does find Shake in the mid lane. A good rotation. Mineral in some trouble. Cope can't punish with no mana. Mineral should be okay, but it's a long way to catch
Nice
back up
pull.
to Cope.
That's going to be it for Cope. Face shows up and plants one down on him. Sobek going to go ahead and use the pluck defensively. Poor Sheikah. Sheikah walked into the persistent gust. He was fine. He backstepped into the persistent gust. Diesel missed it, but he walked into it. That's rough.
Ends up falling. And that was really good. Sanguine needed that to sort of even that trade back out, as Armada had really gotten off to a good start there in the early game. But you can see these charts. I mean, it's not a huge lead. We're fluctuating around 500 either direction, but it's definitely been up and down. About 1,000, though, experience-wise in Armada's favor, despite these even kills. Well, even that's equalizing back out, to be honest.
Yeah, 4-4. Diesel now on the chase. Hits spot Sops with 1 or 2, but that's about it.
Cope going with this Jotun's Wrath, which I like here in the jungle. Coming out for him and getting some extra cooldown to try and help him out. I mean, if he's going to be constantly coming over here and ganking this Sobek, I mean, why not go for that extra cooldown early? There's a lot of options for your junglers, I feel like, right now, and how they want to build, which I love. I mean, that they get to sort of itemize the way they want to play, and Cope showing that he wants to be able to throw out these abilities, throw out the Anvil of Dawn as often as possible as he has Defender of Olympus ticking right down.
Yeah, this is it. This is it for me. I love the Jotun's Wrath. Cope going to go up to the sky and see if there's anybody rotating. There is, but he misses the ult. Now looking for Face, turns around, can't decide which one to look at. Diesel on the chase, gets stunned out.
Sabbath in some trouble still, though. Does have the dash, but ends up getting caught out. The cleanse comes out, but not enough. Epic uppercut gonna put him right back down to a bad situation. And Sybil takes down Sabbath 5v4 in favor of Sanguine as they continue to push in mid. Sheikah does get rooted out, has the heal. Face looking for the pluck, but can't find it.
A little bit rough there. Sops now trying to deal damage back into him. Off screen, Diesel dies to the hand of Bruh. Now Mineral in trouble. Bruh looking for the second one, finds it with the basic. But the play was anything but. Nice advanced stuff coming out from the Achilles. Might trade his life here, and he will, Finch. But 2 for 1, I'll take.
Yeah, Bruh was able to come in on the backside in between the tier 1, tier 2 tower and find some nice kills early on. Able to kind of match Fates, if not do him a little bit better, because Fates wasn't quite able to land the charge prey. It doesn't end up costing him very much. He makes it right back out, but it does mean Bruh's rotation just a little bit more impactful. 4-2-0 now for this Achilles. Level 12, highest in the game. And we all know what he can do from the jungle, but Bruh showing he can do it from the solo lane as well.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's on fire, and he'll be able to make these rotations just blaze through the opposition. I mean, Armada right now are in a position where they've got a player with a huge lead. I want to see them use it. You want to go for a real traditional lane swap here? I would even be open for it. Bruh's got this lead on this Achilles, and he's a character that can just take it and run with it. I want to see them, Armada, really push this Achilles lead however they need to do so.
And I like it too because Achilles is one of those characters that he does feel a lot more impactful at the beginning. Execute kind of never stops being good.
Yeah.
So Achilles is certainly still going to have an impact later. But if we can get that Achilles over here sooner, then no one would be complaining on the side of Armada as they try and catch out Mineral.
He's absolutely an early to mid-game character.
Woo! Nice shot from Sheikah in mid. Cope is going to make it out without taking another tower shot as well. They are able to find the 2v1 in the mid lane and take down the Agni.
Bruh here on the right side. Sops here on the left. Sabbath going to find Face. The dash forward will get the stun. There's the Horseman, and Sops off to the races as he takes down Faces.
No beads for the jungler for Sanguine, and that's what ends up happening when there's an Athena and a Hachiman grouping up together. Gold Fury now been pulled. They have some healings, but Sheikah low on mana. Sybil comes in, Fates finds the charge prey, so Sheikah gets pulled back. Cope coming in to try and help. Epic uppercut, gonna land her right inside the lurking in the waters, but the shell keeps Sheikah alive, able to get the heal off. Diesel has to retreat with the airstrike. Bruh, look for the fatal strike, and Sybil is gonna be brought down by Sops.
Yeah, nice shot there from Sops. Sybil has had a great game, to be honest with you. 2-2-2 so far for the Guardian, but still, he's really been impactful in these team fights. What doesn't show up on the scoreboard is how many times he's peeled for his teammates, how many times he's set up his teammates. That's what we don't get to see here on the slash line. So 2-2-2, a little bit deceptive because Sybil, I think his game on this Kumbhakarna, especially in comparison to how anemic his play on Bacchus was, this is a really, really nice turnaround.
I really like this draft overall from Sanguine a lot better than the game one. And
Easily.
You can kind of see it in action where it just gives them a lot more options, a lot more room, you know, to make a few mistakes here and there if they have to, but they've been able to capitalize much more often than they have made any mistakes. Sybil doing a great job for them, as has Face, I feel like, on the Susano. Maybe a couple things off the mark, but he's definitely been there.
Not even pointing out the fact that they played a jungle Hades, right?
Sure.
This is just a better draft, even going to the school of thought that Jungle Hades is a great selection. This is just better. I mentioned that Jungle Hades, there just wasn't that synergy there that we see with Hunbats and Ares. If you're going to play the Hades, play something else that's going to strip beads. Instead, they went for the strip the jumps, right? Looking for the Odin thing there. I don't know. Play a Wheelish, bud. Like that, I just didn't like that. This makes much more sense. Face is going to be able to pull you into minerals damage, into Fates' nonsense. If that doesn't work, Fates will be able to flip you out for Face, and there's just a whole lot going on here for Sanguine that's much, much nicer to look at.
Yeah, we're starting to move into the point of the game where the Susano really is going to be a problem. Has that Brawling Speed Stick finished and is ready to start rocking. Sybil gets taunted in, but Braun's the one that takes some return damage. Shaker right there to heal it up, and it's like nothing happened, at least on the side of Armada, as Cope, he's going to be looking for Diesel on the right-hand side. Beads come out to keep Diesel alive, as he used that rapid reincarnation to get right back.
So far, loving the Transcendence builds coming out here from the Thor player. He's got a lot of power, and it's going to be amplified, but of course the cooldown reduction in Season 5 makes this a much more attractive item. Armada with an easy Gold Fury. That should not have been that easy.
Well, they forced Diesel back, so I guess one of the main people who'd be there weren't available, but Sanguine are going to look for the fight afterwards. Fate forces the Aegis out from Sops with lurking in the waters. Face is low on the right-hand side and has been able to retreat so far, but the collapse onto the Sobek is definitely on. Sabbath, Sops, and Sheikah just 2 months. Fate does end up falling. Bruh has the Fatal Strike, takes down the Mineral. Now the rotation coming in from Sops, looking for Sybil as well. Doesn't even get mezzed out. Bruh wants to keep chasing down the Kumbhakarna and has the second execute for a double.
Yeah, nice 2 kills for Bruh right there. Tier 1 tower going to go down after that one. Armada, this is their mid-game madness. They've got a Thor, they've got an Achilles, they've got Shaker. Remember how I was talking about how she hits level 1 and 2 and is very powerful, and then after the fact is kind of lackluster until the second relic and she gets her items. Guess where we're at, boys? We're there. 10% cooldown reduction thanks to the Mage's Blessing. You've got some power on the booties and the book, and this is just combining to be this mid-game menagerie of madness. Everybody just going insane right now at the 16-minute mark. I mean, this is where Armada need to step into themselves and play the game, and they're making the aggressive plays. This is so nice to me watching the minor league play, because it's one thing to just push your buttons well, Finch. It's another thing to understand the game and your draft at a deeper level, and that's what I'm seeing out of Armada.
Sabbath been brought pretty low here by Diesel on left-hand side. Sheikah's coming to support. The Persistent Gust going to land. Sybil looking for the Groggy Strike. Healing the cleanse.
The cleanse
is good there from Sheikah to end up getting him out. Taunt doesn't land, but Sprint comes out. They want this Athena, and they're going to find Sops. Face and Mineral are able to chase him down. Sabbath is going to survive, but I think if you look for Athena and ended up with Hachiman, you're not really complaining.
Hey, man, this has been really, really fun to watch. Armada, they've got a great support player, and contrary to years of ancient belief, you don't sleep on the Sabbath in this game.
Not at all, as it's worked out for them very, very well. They grab the tier 1 tower now in dual lane. Sabbath is on the dash in because Cope's up in the air. Sybil not able to find one with the mez, but Epic Uppercut does get Sabbath out of the fight for a moment. Cope comes in with the hammer and removes Mineral from the map. Fates goes in with the lurking in the water, but Sheikah survives and is able to heal. Bruh takes down Face. Sabbath dashes in, needs some control for Fates. The Sobek is trapped in a bad part of town.
Oh my goodness, you don't want to do that! You don't walk past 18th Street, buddy. Just the wrong place. You can't get split up like that. Sanguine did it to themselves even.
Yes.
That wasn't even Armada executing. They just took advantage of the fact that Sanguine split up. Splitting up is never a good idea. Haven't you guys seen Scooby-Doo? You don't split up, gang. That's how you get in trouble.
They split up literally every episode.
Yes, and they get in trouble literally every episode.
No, they catch the guy every time. They take the mask off. Velma says jinkies, and they solve a mid-level crime.
But it's always due to the turmoil that they've introduced because they go, well, zoinks, let's split up.
You know why they're splitting up.
They want to make a sandwich.
That's what it is.
Okay.
But it's really been great play from Bra. I mean, it really feels like to me in this game, the difference between these two solo laners has really kind of been the key. When they both come in and they make the rotations, it's been the Achilles that's been able to have the bigger impact. We've seen multiple times Fates get collapsed on and Bra find a double kill.
I mean, I laughed. 8, 2, and 2. Yeah, that's a bigger impact.
He's level 19, so that's pretty darn good. The next closest person is 16. Bra is having a game for himself. And Cope, in that last situation, I mean, that double tap on the hammer removed Mineral. Armada are just ahead.
And that is the build. Transcendence, Jotun's Wrath, Brawler's Beat Stick. Transcendence takes us out of the throwback to Season 1, but just boots into Jotuns into Brawlers. I mean, this was the go-to build because there's no conditional like Heartseeker after a couple of basics. It's just, I hit hard all the time and you got to deal with it.
Fates, once again, getting caught out a little bit. Still has the charge play if he wants to reposition, and will. But Cope has gone up into the air. Anvil of Dawn brings the hammer down on the croc. Has Defender of Olympus here. Mineral almost trades it back out, but the damage mitigation just too strong. Now Sabbath taunts it back in. Sheikah there with the repulse and takes Mineral down.
Man, he got rocked.
He did. Bruh. Once again, successfully fighting off 2 members, Diesel and Sybil, freeing up the rest of the team to take the Tier 2 tower on the solo lane side of the map. I mean, Bra's almost done with his build. Once he sells this Warrior's Blessing, and I mean, he's done.
Yeah, he's done.
Look how far ahead he is.
He's
it's
over.
Gross.
He's over. He's just sitting there saying, when do we get to kill the boss?
Because he's ready to start rocking and rolling. Fates and Mineral still having to take a seat while the Fire Giant goes over to Armada Esports. Let's go ahead and take a look at those graphs, because this is looking like a 12,000 gold differential, 16,000 experience. I mean, at 20 minutes, it's very, very difficult to fight into that.
Yeah, no, this is very, very intense. So Face finishes off his Transcendence right about now, so he's going to be able to stack it, and stacking Transcendence is less of the conversation. It's really more about the power that you get, the contribution from your mana pool. But Sanguine now does have a little bit more behind their belt. They are going to be able to fight a little bit, like you highlighted. It is definitely a large, large gold lead. It almost is a nice thing that it was kind of completely concentrated on the solo lane Cope with the laziest of backs, but still able to get out of there. Because you just have to worry about Bra to a certain extent, right? The other characters in juxtaposition are kind of dealable. If I'm Face and my enemy jungler is 1 level above me and an item above me, I'm not thrilled, but that's not the same as being 12,000 gold down from the solo lane.
Bra not going to give them a chance to ignore him, though. He has singled out Diesel and forced out the airstrike. He has Defender of Olympus channeled on him, so now Sabbath is here to help out with the fight. Faints in the lurking in the waters, but Bra seems undeterred. In fact, he's turning around and returning the damage to his own old direct opposition. Meanwhile, Cope and Mineral having their own spin-off episode down here by the Tier 2.
Yeah, it's jungler versus mid laner here. Diesel trying to defend the left-hand side, but Thor on the right side. Man, the mid laner got rocked! You're not going to help me with this, are you?
No, Phoenix on the left-hand side is going to fall down.
They're minerals, Marie!
I understand! I'm with you! The left side Phoenix does end up dropping. They're going to move over right to the mid Phoenix because there is no rock coming out from the mid lane to cause them problems any longer. Agni going to be sitting out for another 20 seconds. Bruh continuing to front line and be undeterred as Sabbath 2-man taunt right into the follow-up damage. Epic uppercut does come out from Sybil, but it's not enough.
No, not nearly. Meanwhile, Cope going to come down from the sky right on the backside, and Sops going to spank down Fates.
Face able to just barely make it back to the fountain until he survived, but we cannot say the same for Sybil. He's in that sleepy passive and is able to be taken down. Bruh on a rampage if I've ever seen one. Diesel, the next one in trouble. Aegis lets him get back to the fountain, but not gonna let him heal up. Bruh with the double takes him down.
And still looking for more. Face is going to about face and fall down to the hand of Sheikah. Mineral, the last one standing. and he's going to dash back into the fountain. That's a good choice, bro.
Not until after he last spams, though. The walls land. Aegis keeps him alive. Sabbath willing to die for it. They don't want to let Mineral survive. The autos from Sops are good. That's a full deicide. Sanguine, we'll see you later. Armada Esports continuing to hold on to that second place spot and looking dominant.
Let me say, because this has come up in the past, I like that ending. When all 5 players are delaying the Titan kill to try and get the extra kill, go home. But 3 people on the Titan and there's just one guy like shooting you in the fountain. I'm down. That's like Kevin Garnett blocking the out of play balls. Like, come on, like as long as you're doing the right thing, you can mess around with the opposition. I like that. Great win for Armada. Good body language and everything from the guys as well.
Yeah, they did a really good job. They played so cleanly around their lead. As soon as they recognized where their advantages were coming from, I mean, Bra starts making really early rotations, I feel like, on that Achilles, and that's really what starts turning the tide. It's just better than the Sobek was. Yeah,
no, this was just a complete understanding of the composition. They drafted mid-game, they sat on the laurels, and then when the mid-game came, they hit the gas.
Well, that's going to do it for that set. Let's get it over to the analyst to tell us a little bit more about what happened in that set.
Thanks a lot, guys. Armada did win 2-0. First thing we've really got to point out, Aggro, does that bear look alive to you?
No, that's dead.
No, Tom, you did kill the bear. You are known as the bear killer now. That is the way it's going to be. Armada, though, with a 2-0 victory there, looking dominant yet again. There's a reason they're second in the SMITE minor league.
You can tell that this team is really climbing up those ranks, and I think this really speaks to how good Very Nice to Me has been during the summer split, because you think of their games up against Armada, and that was a pretty easy victory, it felt like, for Very Nice to Me, but that was earlier on in the split. Armada has clearly grown since then. Cope's God pool continues to get bigger. Bruh continues to impress. I mean, that was the Bruh show, basically, in that game. They made it happen for Armada. So I think that their next matchup is going to be really, really fun to watch.
And let's have a look at the standings, first of all, to see how the games this week have taken fold in both Europe and North America of the SMITE minor league. It's Very Nice to be in Signum at the top once more. Similar situation to what we saw them in spring.
Insignum is going to be your European representative for sure at the Summer LAN, but North America is still open because Armada still has one more game in hand against Very Nice to Me, and that would put both their records at 8-1 if Armada wins out here. Or 9-1, excuse me.
Crazy. Well, let's have a look at the schedule for next week, because you mentioned the game against Very Nice to Me versus Armada, probably the biggest one that's going to be available next week. Obviously, it's offline at the moment. I'm going to probably speak to a few people to see if we can get that changed, by the way, as a heads up. But as you can see, there is no game on Wednesday, but 2 games on Friday. Reason being for that is because it's 4th of July, and some of these Yanks here would like to spend it with the families celebrating independence or something stupid.
Not me.
Not you?
I'm not going to be here anyways. So
I know.
I'm on
Why?
vacation
Why?
next
Yeah,
week,
guess what you're
so-
doing.
Yeah, I'm on vacation spending it with my family.
Yeah, typical Yanks just taking time off when they don't need to. But not only that, before we let you go, the gem sale is still going on all week, but I don't know when it ends, so get them today before it runs out.
For all of a limited time,
All of
whatever
a
that
limited
means.
time, whatever that
'cause,
means, yeah.
No clue here either, so buy them today.
35% off. It's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Not
Would you
gonna
say
lie.
that this bear is missing 35% of its legs?
I don't know, probably.
It's probably
About that.
about...
Well, to be fair, he's missing 2 legs, that's 50%, right?
No, but it's not all, like this one's just the paw.
Listen, enough for a
you
moment.
know?
SPL's coming up at 3 p.m. today. Make sure you tune in then. I'm sure we'll make more jokes about how F. likes to kill bears. It's going to be a running gag for a while until he cries. Have a good evening. We'll see you all in a couple of hours.
Peach it.